Now, while we've got that shape there, I'm going to work with the roof a little bit more now. I'm going to do a push-pull on this roof surface here, so I'll go and find the push-pull tool. Now, if we were to assume at this stage that we would have a roof constructed of rafter members that were 90mm deep, and roof battens sitting on top of that which are 38mm deep, and then corrugated steel roof sheeting sitting on top of that at 17mm thick, the 17 plus the 38 plus the 90 comes to 145. So the total thickness of everything that makes up my roof is 145mm thick. So if I use my push-pull tool now to pull this face here away, before I do it, I'll just escape out of that. Before you do it, press and release the control key. That changes the push-pull from being push-pulling the face and moving the face to making a copy of the face, and the difference with that will be, if I push-pull that out there in that direction now, let go and type 145 for the thickness of the roof and press enter, we have now left the bottom surface of that roof plane intact and made a copy of it up the screen. So that's the first step in making our roof. Okay, so the next step will be, I want to create some eaves overhangs for this roof now. I want the overhangs to be 900mm. We'll work on the front edge of the building to start with. Now, probably if we orbit something like I've got there at the moment, might be the best. Zoom in a little bit. If I grab my tape measure, just like a builder would on site, and if I grab my tape measure on this edge of the building here, and pull out in the green axis direction, so make sure you see a green tip poking out, green arrow, and while it's poking out in the green axis direction, if we type 900 and press enter, we've now got a construction line which in the green axis is 900mm away from that edge. Okay, now at the same time, while I've got the tape measure, I think I'm going to make it'll be a bit easier if I also put some construction lines along this edge of the roof here too. So I'm going to grab that edge of the roof, pull away and type 0. That will give me a construction line that is 0mm away from that edge, and do the same to the other edge of the roof at 0. So I've just extended the roof lines out into that direction. Okay, which would enable me then to simply do a push-pull on this roof surface until it touched that intersection. Okay. So I've push-pulled my roof surface until it came out to that intersection there. But I'm not quite finished yet, because this fascia line through here is now perpendicular to the roof plane. It really needs to be plumb. So to make it plumb, I will select that top edge of the roof, just there, and I will move it using the move tool, and I'll move it from that end point there up to that intersection that we've created with those construction lines. Press enter, and I've now created a nice plumb fascia. Okay, so we're going to do something similar to that on the back edge of the building. I'll get my, I'll get my tape measure first, and I'll once again come 900mm from this edge. I might actually do it off this one first. I'm just thinking ahead a little bit here. I might actually come from this pop out edge first, or to even get it right back in this edge here. And I'll come out in that green axis direction once again, a distance of 900. So that will take us a little bit past that wall. Remember, we made the wall sit a little bit in from the roof overhang that we wanted. So I'll then just do the same thing again along here. I'll go from that edge 0. So a construction line along those two edges, which would enable me to then push-pull this face out to that intersection. But I'll then need to select that edge of the roof and move it back to that intersection to create the surface nice and plumb. So that sorts out that part of the roof. We've now just got to do something out to this part of the roof here, and probably the easiest way, I'll just do this in a couple of stages. I think I'll grab my push-pull tool, bring this edge here, if it will, to that end point, and it will just do it. It won't go past that because it just can't. It can't figure out the geometry to take it any further than that point. So I'll make sure it goes right to that end point. And while I've got that to that end point, then I'll just pick up this bottom edge of the roof and I will move it from that end point to that end point. And that's tidied that part of the roof up. So I'll just do a little bit of tidying up now. Grab the eraser, get rid of some of these construction lines, only the ones up at the roof, by the way. Remember, we're keeping the construction lines down at the ground. And the other bit of tidying up that I'm going to do, I'm going to orbit underneath this bit of roof here because there's a bit of a messy join, and I'm going to erase that line just there and also that line just there, and that should tidy up the roof fairly nicely. So we're nearly finished with the basic shape of the roof. Just a couple of more push-pulls and then we'll have a bit of a break. So I'm going to push-pull this gabled end of the building out 450, so either drag it and type 450 as you go, or drag it and drop, and then you get one last chance to change it to 450, type 450 and press enter. Tidy that up, the underneath side of that, as you go. We don't want any of these little edges being projected out from the existing corners. And do the same around the other end of the building. We will have a carport out this end of the building that will be 3 meters wide, and I'll probably assume, let's sail the wall past another 150 past that point. So we'll push-pull this gabled end of the building out 3150. So push-pull, drag it out, let it go, type 3150, press enter, and that's that extent of the roof fixed up also. But I'll just tidy it up a touch. Okay, so that's not a bad place to leave this saved at this stage. Have a bit of a break and catch up to that point. So I'll just make sure we save our cabin 1 mass, and we'll stop the video for a second.